The segment we had planned right now was going to be what would it take to get Gino Suarez now that we've had one trade happen with the Diamondbacks. We're going to lay out this Josh Naylor deal with the Mariners, what they gave up versus what the Tigers or any team would have to give up to get Gino Suarez on their team. Again, Gino Suarez has 36 bombs this year. He'd be a nice addition to this lineup. He'd instantly be the best hitter that the Tigers have. I'm actually going to pivot because Evan Petzold of the Detroit Free Press, who I would rank as number one beat reporter in Detroit right now, just in terms of like knowing the scoop on the team. I'd say, what was the Pistons guy's name before he went to New York? James Edwards was probably number one. He had the inside scoop.
Oh, you're going across all sports here.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
James Edwards for The Athletic knew everything that was going on within the Pistons organization.
Really good podcast, too. I like to listen to his podcast.
He knew, I mean, he was like levels above any other beat reporter in terms of knowing what was going on. And I think Petzold has now moved into that group with this Tigers team. He's beating everybody to everything. So what he says, I think, basically just goes, like, you got to take it for what it is. And he just released an article in the last few minutes. Actually, this was a few hours ago, but I'm just now seeing it. That says they're just not going to go get Gino Suarez. They're not approaching this deadline as all in. And they're going to take a more slow approach over the next few years and slowly build this thing up, sustain success. Don't expect them to push their chips into the table and be pragmatic here at the deadline. They're not necessarily trying to become World Series contenders. You know what that tells me, Kyle? They don't believe in this team. This front office doesn't actually believe in this roster to win a World Series. And you know what else pisses me off about reading all this? When they inevitably lose Tarek Skubal in a year and a half, what are we going to be telling everyone? We're going to be asking ourselves, why did this team not go all in the last two deadlines? Because not only did you lose out on Tarek Skubal, and maybe I'm just thinking negatively right now because the Tigers have forced me to think negatively over the past 2 weeks.
Right.
But not only did you lose Skubal, you refused to go all in at the deadline. This article goes on to say they don't plan on being aggressive, don't plan on giving up any top five guys, don't plan on landing Gino Suarez on this team. Expect them to be buyers, add a couple
relievers. It says that they'll probably look to add, and that'll be about it.
Not even top tier relievers, just mid tier relievers. They want to slowly get better. Even the guys that we keep mentioning as starters, Zach Gallen and Sandy Alcantara, he just basically says, don't expect the Tigers to go aggressive here. What are we doing, Scott? Why are we not trying to improve this team? You had the best record in baseball a week ago, and now you're like, there's not really a point in trying to go all in to try to win a World Series. What's the goal here, to be good for 4 years or to win a World Series? You have a chance to do that this season. It tells me that they don't even believe in their own roster. I hate it. I hate reading this.
Okay, so there's two ways to look at this. And one, I just want to get this out of the way. I'm not saying I believe either of these. I'm just trying to take a different perspective here. You just mentioned it when you said a couple weeks ago this was the best team in baseball. You thought you were the best team in baseball. So what, to the point of they only want to add mid-tier relievers or whatever. 2 or 3 weeks ago, if that was we were literally talking about that, right? We literally said there's not a room to add another bat to this team with how good everybody's playing.
Yeah, that was, 2 weeks ago we said that?
That's what I'm saying.
Insane.
You're letting 2 weeks. This front office is not going to let a 2-week stretch change their plans at the trade deadline. Clearly, right? And so I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we were discussing, I would love for the relievers to be the thing that they add. This was prior to Tommy Kahnle becoming a disaster. This is when Will Vest was still a superstar. Will Vest hasn't had an opportunity to become a superstar in the last 2 weeks because he hasn't been in any high-leverage situations. So that is a reason why you could say, well, they're just not going to completely shift their trade deadline plans that they have been having for months, which I'm not saying I agree with. That's just a perspective. The other point where Petzold says this isn't an all-in push to win the World Series in 2025, and the Tigers are okay with that. That is the point that I was going to bring up even prior to reading this article when we talked about the Eugenio Suarez deal, about what the Tigers could give up. This stretch could be a reason for the Tigers to almost not go all in with how they've played in the last 2 weeks. Because there's more than just one area of need. Let's say they make a huge trade and get Suarez. The pitching staff still isn't great. Like that. What if that isn't enough for them to do anything in the postseason, right? This is just perspectives that I'm throwing in here. I don't agree with them. Like you said, to the Tarek Skubal point, Buster Olney put out an article this morning, once again, talking about how Tarek Skubal will likely not be on the Tigers in 2 years. It was just talking about the teams that are desperate at the deadline, put the Tigers at the top, and said they're desperate because they're going to lose Skubal in 2 years.
But apparently they're not desperate whatsoever. I don't know what this front office thinks to themselves on a daily basis. It's like, yeah, I mean, we'll try to go get Skubal, but, we'll see what happens. Not in a rush. Yeah, we'll try to get a little bit better at the deadline, but, not really in a rush. What is their long-term plan here?
I mean, Scott Harris has made this clear what their long-term plan is. It's sustained success. It's building the farm system so that they're a competitor to go to the playoffs and go deep on a playoff run every year.
I'd rather win a World Series than have any sort of sustained success.
Their plan is to probably win a World Series in one of those seasons, Ben.
Do you believe right now that they're going to be able to get Tarek Skubal in a Tigers uniform for the long term?
No, but that doesn't change anything.
You need to be. What do you mean it doesn't change anything? If you don't believe that they can get Tarek Skubal on a long-term deal here with the Tigers, then you have to be more aggressive the next two deadlines. I'm not saying you got to give up Max Clark, Kevin McGonigal, Jose. I'm not saying give up your top 3, top 4 prospects, but you have to be more aggressive than, yeah, we're going to go after some middle-tier relievers here when our team is in the middle of falling apart. You can't just let that be you can't let this 11-game losing streak come into play and then say, you know what, we will be middle-tier buyers here at the deadline for the next 2 seasons. And then you lose out on Skubal, and then guess what? You missed out on your chance to win a World Series. Because once he's off the team, forget it. You just lost your best player by far. So what are we doing here? I'm not saying you got to sell the entire farm system here at the deadline, because clearly they're not going to do that.
Right.
This team's
I'm just wondering, how much does Gino Suarez improve this team from what we've seen in the last 2 weeks? From one bat, Ben. How much does one bat improve what we've seen from this team?
He has 10 home runs in July. I think that'd help.
Yeah, it would obviously help, but does it help the pitching staff that we've seen? Does it help the bullpen?
No, you're right. It doesn't help those guys.
Does it help every other hitter that has sucked in the last 2 weeks?
I can actually make the argument that yes, having a guy who's not just aimlessly swinging in the middle of your lineup and everyone else seeing his approach, a veteran bat, someone who has more experience than anybody else, and isn't going to fall into this ridiculous slump and let it snowball. Having that guy in the lineup stabilizes everything, I would argue. The fact that Riley Green is,
And we saw that in the first chunk of the season for the Tigers. Yeah, you're right.
And Riley Green being the key contributor that he is, the franchise player, he's 24. I don't think he's ready quite yet to be the guy, hey, everyone, I'm leading by example. Look at me. I'm not letting this snowball. No, he has let this snowball a little bit, and that's part of the reason he got an off day, the series finale against Pittsburgh. He's not quite there yet. We talked about for the first half of the season, he's knocking on the door of superstardom. Well, I think the bouncer just said, take a step back, buddy. You're not here yet. You're not quite ready to join the superstar club. Suarez maybe isn't a superstar, but he's buddies with the bouncer.
He's having a superstar season, yes.
And he's buddies with the bouncer and can sneak a few guys in. Can sneak them in the back door. Having that guy in the lineup, I do think would stabilize everything. But maybe we just need to stop talking about this altogether because Evan Petzold, best beat reporter in Detroit, across any sport, basically just said, don't get your hopes up, Tigers fans. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. 989-837-6125. Dwayne says, I have zero faith in the Tigers because I have zero faith in this pathetic owner and Harris. It's like Illich going for this on purpose to piss off fans, or not going for it. I'm not spending money on the Tigers gear and FanDuel.
I always honestly felt this same way, Dwayne, sometimes. It almost feels intentional sometimes. There's no way he doesn't hear all of the hate and just disappointment that comes from fans on the lack of spending.
Oh, I don't know if you heard this though, Kyle. They opened up that club for the home plate members.
Hey, finally,
so
right?
So all the richest Tigers fans can go enjoy the AC and free food and buffet under the stadium when they're not even watching the game.
They opened it up 100 games into the season as well. Love to see that.
It really is pathetic sometimes. It really is. 989-837-6125. I want to know where your panic meter's at with the Tigers. You know what's funny, Kyle? For the last 5 years, I have been a very pessimistic. Again, I try to separate the radio side of me and the fandom side of me, and I think both of those for the past 5 years have been very pessimistic about this team because of all the things that really all the things that Dwayne just brought up. I don't believe in this owner. I don't think this owner, maybe it's just as simple as that. I don't believe in this ownership. I don't believe that winning is the number one priority. I think making money is a priority. I think getting rich people inside of the stadium and spending money is a priority, which, it's going to be a priority for most owners. But I think winning is down the list. And if winning is not your top priority, why do you own this team? That is what I've basically been saying for 5 straight seasons. And all that got thrown out the window for a year. And now over the last 2 weeks, all those dark thoughts that I've had, they've been creeping back out.
As Mike says in the YouTube chat, it's all about the Benjamins. That's the top thing that matters to most owners in professional sports.
Is it most? Or is it like half? Because I do feel like there are some owners out there that are just willing to spend money.
In Major League Baseball, it's most. I mean, there is so many owners that – I mean, you got to think about it this way, Ben. The Tigers are the top spending team in the American League Central, like by far.
That is not a good – that's a very low bar.
That's 5 teams. And all those teams do not – the Cleveland Guardians had a tremendous season last year and sold all their players. Traded away Andres Jimenez and Josh Naylor just because they don't want to pay him.
Then am I allowed to say I'm just jealous of the guys who own the Dodgers and Yankees and Mets? I'm jealous.
It is, for sure. That there's like 5 teams in Major League Baseball that really just don't care. We'll spend anything possible. And then there's 5 more that are like, we'll spend a little bit. And then there's 20 that don't.
Jeff Bezos, please come buy the Tigers, Jeff Bezos.
It's not about how much money these guys make. It's not like the Ilitch family's poor. They have the money.
No, I give them about $10 every single week. And every time I go into a Little Caesars, you know what my thought is?
You get Little Caesars every week?
Every other week, maybe. But
man, you got to boycott that, man.
No. Here's my thought process though, and this is real. This is real thoughts that go through Ben Bosscher's mind. Over the past 5 years, really since I became.
Think about this every time you go into a Little Caesars.
Every single time, I'm like, where do I get pizza from? Is Little Caesars my favorite pizza? No, not at all.
Pizza.
But you know what? I'm gonna go give $10 to freaking Chris Ilitch, and this is $10 that he can spend towards Tarek Skubal and his contract. So let me do the math. If I've done $10 towards
hilarious.
If I've done $10 towards Little Caesars every other week, there's 54 weeks in a year? 52. Cut that in half.
That'd be 26.
Thank you, Kyle. I have
how many years? For 5 years?
Let's say 5 years. So 26. I'm going to say 26. What would that be? Times 10 times 5?
Times 5 if you're doing 5 years.
I've given them about $1,300 over the past 5 years, according to my math, which could be very wrong. So, hey.
Yeah, that's just not.
It's minuscule, but I'm helping out. I'm trying to. You know what?
Yeah, but how many yous are there around the world that do the same, Probably a lot. And when that money inevitably doesn't go to Tarek Skubal. Now I kind of want a hot and ready, low-key.
It is 9:30 in the morning, Kyle. What do you mean
hungry,
you want
dude.
a hot and ready?
I haven't had a hot and ready in months.